John Oliver offers Clarence Thomas millions to just resign. Boo, if you will just go, we'll enrich you. Okay? Well, let's see. Per Deadline and the Daily Beast, John Oliver's season 11 premiere last week tonight ended with what may be his boldest move yet when he offered sitting Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas $1 million per year plus a $2.4 million state-of-the-art motor coach to replace the justice's current rig. If Thomas resigns immediately from the position, Oliver's offer expires in 30 days. I wonder if he's considering this. During the segment, Oliver said, quote, Clarence Thomas is arguably the most consequential justice on the court right now, and he's never really seemed to like the job. He said it's not worth doing for the grief. So what if he could keep the luxury perks that he clearly enjoys without having to endure all of that grief? We have a special offer for you tonight. We are prepared to offer you $1 million a year for the rest of your life if you simply agree to leave the Supreme Court immediately and never come back. Now, that's the offer, okay? Where this is not a negotiation. Leave, and don't you come back there now. And leave the robe, too. Huh? Oliver then displayed a contract. This is a legal thing. He's had it drawn up. Not a joke, he said. This is real. $1 million a year, until you or I die. He said he and his show spoke with legal experts who assured him the offer is legal. Oliver admitted he might regret this offer if Thomas accepts it. I could be doing stand-up tours for your retirement for years. Daily Beast with the comments here. Oliver had spent the bulk of the episode diving into the many conflicts of interest surrounding multiple members of SCOTUS, how the American public's approval of the court has sunk to 18 percentage points, and how important some of the cases in front of SCOTUS are now. Not just, the issues involving whether former President Donald J. Trump should be disqualified from the 2024 ballot due to insurrection under the 14th Amendment, or whether Trump has immunity from any prosecution, but also matters involving abortion rights, as well as the right of the federal government to regulate anything at all. Oliver zeroed in, however, on Thomas, whose lack of recusals in cases involving his wife, Ginny, are just the tip of the iceberg compared to the financial favors Thomas's wealthy friends have given him since his appointment. He has this look on his face like, what you gonna do about it? You see it? I see it. And I don't want him looking at me. And I had this conversation with the team. I know I'm a guest here, but whenever they put up this picture, I have an extreme aversion to it. And I want him to stop looking at me. I need it off of there. Thank you. Because it really throws me off. And it gets me quite emotional because I feel like he's targeting me. And it sounds crazy. It's just a picture. I know. Put it back up and show them. And then tell me if you don't see it too. You see what I mean? It's the smirk. It's the eyes. It's the head tilt. I'll just keep my head down. One such favor per 2017 episode of 60 Minutes and more recently questioned is a $267,000 loan the Thomases were given for their beloved motor coach. Go ahead, look at this.
Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas has been an RV evangelist for decades, traveling the country in a 40-foot luxury motor coach that he purchased in 1999 after borrowing more than $250,000 from a wealthy friend.
This whole motorhome thing started because someone said it'd be a good idea.
But a new report from Democrats on the Senate Finance Committee alleges Thomas's friend forgave a substantial amount of that massive loan. And 9 years later, his friend forgave all the debt. The IRS considers debt forgiveness as a form of income, but Thomas never reported it on his financial disclosure forms, a likely violation of federal ethics rules. And he never reported it on his tax returns, potentially owing money to the IRS.
Well, shouldn't there be an investigation like with Hunter Biden? And then something about taxes, and I think he paid the money back, Hunter, but I'm just saying, I would think there was investigation. Oliver described the current SCOTUS as a breaking point. Said legislative fixes such as enforceable ethics codes, term limits, expanding the number of justices might help, but he conceded that those ideas might not ever come to fruition. Which is why Oliver hoped a new coach worth 10 times Thomas's current one would appeal to him. The new $2.4 million rig features a bedroom with a king bed, 1.5 baths, a fireplace, 4 TVs, a residential length fridge, plus a washer and dryer. Standing in front of the souped-up motor coach, Oliver ended the episode throwing a stack of bills into the air and declaring 30 days, Clarence. Let's do this. Your move, Clarence. Your effing move. What about some others on the court? Is there more money that can be raised? Senator, I want you to tackle this one. This is a legal offer. Clarence Thomas doesn't usually say much, although he did chime in a lot in this Colorado recusal case that the court was hearing. Suddenly he spoke first. I remember reading a poll that showed where he did not say anything. He was the last justice on the list. Even the new black magic lady on the court had already said more than he had, but suddenly he's leading the cause here. What do you make of this? Would the court be better if Clarence Thomas would just do what we all believe he wants? Take the money.
Well, what a lot of wealthy men and or women want is power. So no, he's not leaving that court. You can't pay for that. Power is the key here. And we ask ourselves, why do ultra wealthy people run for office? Sometimes why do they want to be governors and presidents, et cetera, et cetera? It is because money is one thing, raw power is another. And to be a United States Supreme Court justice with a lifetime appointment is power. So no, Mr. Clarence Thomas will not be giving up that power. But John, I don't know, Sharon. Now I think John Oliver wins he got the crown for petty today, because that is quite petty.
It's just so petty and so real. And I'd like to see if there's other offers that are going to be made. But the one thing that got me too is whichever one dies first. If Oliver dies, then the payments stop. Well, we don't know what could happen. I wish him longevity. But to think that I don't know if Clarence Thomas is mulling this over, but I do think that if he wants more money, no one's going to check him still. Just like when he wanted the raise and he started floating that, I might resign. Remember that story, Senator? I know you do, right?
Yeah.
So there are ways that he can get money without going to what he will view as a liberal television comic. I'll give you the last word on this one, but I don't know if Clarence Thomas, if I were thinking of offering something similar, is the most consequential justice. There may be another or two new ones that I'm thinking of who kind of work in tandem, but I could be wrong.
I mean, Clarence Thomas is not the only problem on that court. You know, he's just a poster child for what the American people are seeing, but certainly he is not the only one. So John Oliver is right in terms of expanding the court, which this current president has rejected doing. That would be one thing. Dealing with whether or not they should have lifetime appointments, maybe rotate them to another level of the federal court. Because it's not, Sharon, it's not just the United States Supreme Court where there are lifetime appointments. There are courts below the United States Supreme Court where lifetime appointments are in effect and are at issue too. And those courts hear and see many more cases than the United States Supreme Court takes on. So we have a systemic problem here. And Clarence Thomas is just the current poster child for that. If I were a betting woman, Sharon Reed, I would say that this Supreme Court justice is not going to take John Oliver up on this offer because, again, this is really about power.
Yeah, and Ginny won't let him anyway. Okay, Ginny Thomas is not going to let him. But I think you're right. It's not working because remember what lifetime appointments on the Supreme Court were supposed to do. They're supposed to keep you out of politics, not beholden. And that's not what's going on here. It's not. It's like, there's nothing you can do about it now.
Again, and the same offer could be made to the people in Congress. Again, those stock options and being able to stock trade. The system.
What are you going to do about it? Right. Yeah. It's just stinking. I can smell it from here, and I'm in Atlanta. Okay, how many hours drive is that?